You think you can just sneak this in? Amend the bylaws at midnight and expect no one to notice? That's my land, Claire. My family's land. You don't get to rewrite the rules because you found a new toy with wings. Ethan jabs a finger at her, voice tight with fury. We followed proper procedure, Ethan. It passed with a board majority. The plateau qualifies as communal infrastructure now, just like streetlights, sidewalks, and safety hubs. Ethan lets out a sharp, humorless laugh. Safety hub? Call it what it is. A drone nest, a spy tower with a nicer font. You want to turn my orchard into a launch pad for surveillance? Claire pauses, her pen hovering over the clipboard before she meets his gaze. It's about security, rising property crime, trespassing. This protects the neighborhood. And yes, it boosts home values. Everyone wins. Ethan steps into her space, his voice dropping to a dangerous murmur. Except me. That plateau feeds my family. That fair market offer of yours wouldn't cover a single harvest. You're robbing me, Claire. Not with a gun, with a vote and a legal technicality. Claire doesn't flinch, her tone measured. Your mortgage requires compliance with HOA directives. Failure to cooperate puts you in breach. That's not a threat, Ethan. It's a fact. Ethan's hands curl into fists. You bring consultants and call it collaboration. But this is a land grab. And I swear to God, I won't let it happen without a fight. Then I hope you're ready for what a fight looks like these days. They lock eyes. The drone hums faintly behind them, ready to take flight. Imagine waking up one day to find out that your HOA has taken action to seize land for a tiny airport, leaving residents feeling blindsided and frustrated. Many homeowners may not realize the extent of the authority that HOAs wield. And situations like this show the importance of being informed. Homeowners associations, commonly known as HOAs, play a significant role in many residential communities across the country. An HOA is an organization made up of homeowners within a specific neighborhood or development, established to manage and maintain common areas and enforce community rules. The primary purpose of an HOA is to enhance property values and ensure a certain standard of living by overseeing the upkeep of shared spaces, such as parks, pools, and landscaping. While HOAs have the authority to create and enforce rules, their powers come with limitations. They can impose fees for maintenance and improvements, but they must also operate within the framework of state laws and the governing documents that outline their responsibilities. Homeowners are typically required to adhere to the rules set forth by the HOA, which can cover everything from architectural guidelines to noise restrictions. However, this authority can sometimes lead to conflicts, especially when homeowners feel that the rules are overly restrictive or unfair. Claire Whitaker, 46, is a former high school civics teacher who once served on the HOA board before stepping down amid growing tension with neighbors. Intelligent and persuasive, Claire originally ran for the board with a promise to beautify the neighborhood and improve communication. However, her leadership quickly grew controversial as she began enforcing rules with what many saw as excessive rigidity. Despite this, Claire remains deeply invested in the well-being of the community. After resigning from the board, she became one of its most vocal critics, particularly during the airport conflict. Her background in education and her understanding of procedural fairness have made her a powerful advocate for homeowner rights and a rallying point for frustrated residents. Common issues that arise between homeowners and HOAs include disputes over land use, such as the recent case of an HOA attempting to seize land for a tiny airport. Homeowners may find themselves at odds with the HOA over property modifications, landscaping choices, or even the enforcement of fines. She issued fines to neighbors for non-compliant wreaths during the holiday season because they use multicolored lights instead of white ones. citing a vague clause about uniform aesthetic standards in the HOA bylaws. Claire attempted to restrict driveway chalk art, claiming it violated the HOA's rule against graffiti, despite the drawings being made by children and washing away with rain. She once reported a neighbor to the city for placing a little free library on their lawn, arguing it was an unauthorized structure, even though it was widely used by local children and parents. She mandated monthly front yard photo submissions from homeowners in a misguided attempt to monitor curb appeal compliance, which many viewed as intrusive and bordering on surveillance. Claire tried to have a neighbor's solar panels removed, saying they clashed with the community's aesthetic vision, despite state laws protecting solar access. In a shocking turn of events, Claire made headlines when it took action to acquire land for a tiny airport, leaving many residents feeling betrayed and confused. The incident began when she announced plans to expand community amenities, claiming that a small parcel of land adjacent to the neighborhood was ideal for this purpose. However, as discussions progressed, it became clear that the proposed expansion involved constructing an airport rather than a park or recreational area. The process the HOA used to acquire the land was both controversial and complex. They cited a combination of legal loopholes and community votes to justify their actions. The HOA argued that the land was underutilized and that the airport would benefit the community by providing easy access to air travel. However, many residents felt blindsided, as they had not been adequately informed about the true nature of the project until it was too late. Ethan Davis is a 39-year-old software engineer and father of two who moved to the neighborhood 7 years ago with hopes of raising his children in a quiet, family-friendly community. Known for his calm demeanor and thoughtful reasoning, Ethan originally stayed out of HOA politics, preferring to focus on work and coaching his son's soccer team. However, when the HOA began moving forward with questionable development plans, especially the airport, Ethan felt compelled to speak up. A quiet leader, he has since emerged as one of the most articulate voices challenging the board's overreach, relying on thorough research, public records, requests, and community organizing to advocate for transparency and fairness. "You call this a community benefit?" Ethan said during a tense HOA meeting. He stood up, voice shaking but firm. "We asked for a dog park or a garden, not a landing strip." Claire, who had spent years organizing neighborhood cleanup events, added, "This isn't oversight. This is a betrayal. You hijacked the vote with vague language and technicalities. We trusted you." Personal anecdotes from affected homeowners paint a vivid picture of the emotional turmoil this incident caused. One resident, Sarah, shared her frustration, stating, "I've lived here for over a decade, and I never imagined my HOA would take land without proper consultation. It feels like our voices don't matter." Another homeowner, Tom, expressed his disbelief, saying, "We thought we were part of a community that valued our input, but this has shattered that trust." In a video shared widely on the internet, Claire could be heard pleading, "At least delay the project until there's a real vote, one where people know what they're voting on." The construction of a tiny airport raises significant implications, particularly concerning the operation of surveillance drones. These drones are typically equipped with advanced technology that allows them to monitor vast areas from the sky, collecting data for various purposes, including security, environmental monitoring, and even traffic management. While their intended use can be beneficial, the presence of an airport dedicated to drone operations can lead to a host of concerns for local residents. One of the primary issues surrounding surveillance drones is privacy. Many community members express unease about the idea of being constantly monitored from above. The thought of drones capturing footage of private properties and public spaces has sparked heated debates about the balance between safety and individual rights. Residents worry that the airport could become a hub for intrusive surveillance, leading to a loss of privacy and a feeling of being watched at all times. Are we living in a neighborhood or a surveillance zone? Ethan asked, pointing at a diagram showing drone flight paths that hovered directly above homes. My kids play outside every afternoon, Claire said, visibly upset. What happens when a drone crashes or when someone uses it to peer into our yards? Community reactions have been mixed. Some residents see the potential benefits of enhanced security and improved emergency response capabilities that drones can provide. However, others fear that the drawbacks, such as noise pollution and the risk of accidents, could outweigh these advantages. The idea of drones flying overhead regularly can create anxiety and disrupt the peaceful atmosphere that many homeowners cherish. When homeowners find themselves at odds with their homeowners association, particularly in cases of controversial actions like land theft, it's crucial to understand the legal options available to them. Homeowners have specific rights that protect them against arbitrary or unjust decisions made by their HOA. These rights often include the ability to challenge decisions that violate the governing documents of the HOA, such as the bylaws or covenants, conditions, and restrictions. If homeowners believe that their HOA has overstepped its authority, they can pursue several legal actions to contest such decisions. One common approach is to request a formal review of the HOA's actions, which may involve gathering evidence and presenting a case to the HOA board. If this internal process does not yield satisfactory results, homeowners can escalate the matter by filing a complaint with the appropriate state agency or seeking mediation. In more severe cases, homeowners may consider litigation, where they can take the HOA to court to seek damages or an injunction against the land acquisition. For those seeking legal advice or support, several resources are available. Local legal aid organizations often provide free or low-cost consultations for homeowners facing disputes with their HOAs. Additionally, state bar associations can connect homeowners with attorneys who specialize in real estate or HOA law. Online forums and community groups can also offer valuable insights and shared experiences from others who have navigated similar challenges. The community's reaction to the HOA's decision to acquire land for a tiny airport was swift and passionate. Residents quickly organized community meetings to discuss their concerns and strategize a collective response. These gatherings became a platform for homeowners to voice their frustrations, share personal stories, and rally support against what many viewed as an unjust seizure of land. At one outdoor gathering, Ethan addressed a crowd of 50 neighbors. We have the numbers. We have the truth. All we need now is follow-through. Claire passed out flyers titled "Know Your Rights," stopping the airport before it lands. The atmosphere was charged with emotion as neighbors expressed their fears about the potential impact on property values, privacy, and the overall quality of life in the neighborhood. In addition to traditional meetings, social media played a pivotal role in mobilizing community support. Platforms like Facebook became vital tools for spreading awareness about the issue, allowing residents to share updates, organize protests, and create petitions. Hashtags related to the airport controversy gained traction, drawing attention from outside the community and even local news outlets. This online activism not only amplified the voices of concerned homeowners, but also fostered a sense of solidarity among residents who felt similarly affected. As a result of this mounting community pressure, the HOA began to reconsider its approach. In response to the protests and the overwhelming feedback from residents, the HOA held a special meeting to address the concerns raised. The community center was packed, standing room only. Folded arms, whispered complaints, and the shuffle of papers filled the room with tension. At the front, Claire stood behind the podium in her signature navy pantsuit, tapping her notes with one finger as she spoke into the mic. The proposed drone facility is not only legal but beneficial, she said firmly. This board has acted well within its rights. Ethan, sitting near the front, raised his hand. The moderator acknowledged him reluctantly, knowing what was coming. He stood, voice calm but edged with frustration. Claire, you say it's beneficial, but for whom? You bypassed meaningful consultation. You claim this was for a recreational expansion, and now we're looking at drones buzzing overhead. How many residents were told the truth before the vote? Claire's lips tightened. Transparency was maintained. All notices were posted. Ethan took a step forward. You mean the vague notice posted during a holiday weekend in size 10 font? That's not transparency. That's concealment. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd. Someone clapped quietly. Claire's voice rose slightly. With all due respect, Ethan, this isn't a court of law. You're sensationalizing this. And you're steamrolling your neighbors, he shot back. You've fined people for sidewalk chalk, Claire. You've threatened to tow a mobility scooter because it wasn't aesthetic. Forgive us for thinking your idea of progress doesn't include community input. The room erupted into scattered applause while Claire turned red and abruptly ended her remarks. We hear you now, the HOA president admitted. We acknowledge the communication breakdown and are committed to pausing the project. The town hall confrontation between Ethan and Claire became a turning point in the community. Many neighbors voiced newfound admiration for Ethan, praising him for articulating what others had been too afraid to say. One resident, Mrs. Alvarez, posted, "Finally, someone stood up to Claire. I've lived here 18 years and I still get anxious when I see her clipboard." It also prompted neighbors to share their own stories. A young couple recalled being fined for using non-regulation string lights during the holidays, while another resident admitted they once received a violation notice because their recycling bin was visible for more than 47 minutes after collection. These stories fueled momentum for reform, with several homeowners volunteering to join a new oversight committee. Meanwhile, Claire's supporters grew silent, and her influence on the board quietly dissolved. What started as a dispute over a patch of land turned into a grassroots movement for accountability in a renewed sense of community solidarity. After stepping down from the HOA board, Claire struggled with the loss of control more than she anticipated. For years, she had built her identity around her authority, patrolling the neighborhood clipboard in hand, issuing citations and micromanaging every detail from shrub height to mailbox uniformity. Without that power, Claire felt adrift. At first, she tried to maintain relevance by commenting in neighborhood forums, correcting grammar in posts, and reminding people of obscure HOA regulations from memory. But her attempts were largely ignored, or worse, mocked. Formerly feared, Claire was now seen as a relic of a less transparent era, a symbol of overreach. Her morning routines, once filled with emails and inspections, were replaced by long, aimless walks and carefully arranged bird feeders in her backyard. Some days she would sit on her porch, watching Ethan lead a volunteer cleanup crew with laughter and camaraderie she had never managed to inspire. The sound stung more than she admitted. Though Claire never publicly acknowledged regret, neighbors noticed the absence of her usual rigidity, and a few even commented that she looked lonelier than before. Stripped of her authority, Claire was finally just another neighbor, one learning, slowly and uncomfortably, how to coexist rather than command. After the heated dispute with Claire and his outspoken opposition to the tiny airport project, Ethan became an unofficial spokesperson for concerned residents. His detailed research, calm public statements, and organized efforts to hold the HOA accountable won him widespread respect, even from neighbors who previously remained neutral. However, the spotlight also brought challenges. He received thinly veiled threats of additional HOA scrutiny, and one anonymous complaint accused him of violating fence height rules, widely seen as retaliation. Despite the pressure, Ethan persisted, helping to draft a petition that ultimately forced the HOA to pause the airport project and revisit its transparency policies. This led to a temporary halt on the airport project while further discussions took place. Additionally, the HOA committed to revising its communication policies to ensure that homeowners would be better informed and consulted on significant decisions in the future. In the months that followed, several homeowners encouraged Ethan to run for a board seat, recognizing the need for balance and principled leadership. Though initially hesitant, he agreed, hoping to reform the HOA from within. This shift highlights the power of community action and the importance of homeowner engagement in shaping local governance. What began as a fight to protect transparency and fairness turned into something bigger, a movement toward a more inclusive and cooperative neighborhood. Ethan never asked for recognition, but neighbors began referring to him as the People's HOA rep, even jokingly suggesting he run for the board. Though he declined any official title, Ethan took on an informal leadership role. He helped organize monthly town halls where residents could voice concerns without fear of reprisal and launched a community garden project on a formerly unused lot, the same kind of space Claire once tried to convert into drone landing zones. His reputation grew not from authority, but from action, helping elderly neighbors fix fences, mentoring teens interested in local policy, and making everyone feel heard. Unlike Claire, who ruled by citation, Ethan led by connection. The HOA board, now restructured with more balanced voices, invited Ethan to help revise the bylaws to prevent future overreach. His efforts helped rebuild trust in the HOA, transforming what had been a tense and divided neighborhood into a place where people once again waved to each other without suspicion. Though the scars of the airport debacle lingered, Ethan's resilience and calm determination helped the community heal and move forward stronger than before. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful tales of resilience and justice. Your support allows us to keep delivering valuable insights and stories that inform and inspire people everywhere. Thank you for watching Work Story, and see you in the next one.